the Knight of Maltas and so forth, they focus on high officials and so forth. That's why you'll have the Nelson Mandelas there knighted. You'll have the Thabo Mbekis over there knighted. There are pictures online. It's not like it's hidden. The Desmond Tutus, they are there knighted.
Let's move a bit forward and talk to the symbolism.
Yeah.
Specifically, what are some of the Freemasonry or occultic or secret society symbolism that you picked up from the Desmond Tutu funeral?
They first of all, they redefined the communion. That for me was like, wait a minute, you don't do that. But I'm not shocked that they redefined the communion there, because if you go back into Catholicism, which is where the Anglicans come from, they've been doing that for years. They've been doing that for hundreds of years, where they redefine.
Be specific. How did they redefine it?
They
Or
said,
maybe give us an example of how and what communion should be, and then give us their example and how they changed the original.
let's start with theirs.
Okay.
They said that they were going to do the Eucharist, which is communion. They were going to do it in a form of thanksgiving, and to be thankful of the man that Archbishop was, and so that we can remember and be thankful for what beauties we have. That's not communion. Barcelona. There are certain things that are clearly defined. You don't change their meaning, because once you deviate, it's this thing where they say that if you throw off a thing, if an aeroplane takes off and it just deviates just an inch, by the time it gets 100 kilometers, it will be going off of a different.
Yeah.
And so things like communion, you don't do that, because the Bible clearly defines it. And so we've defined what they say about communion. We're going to use it for Thanksgiving. Now, you want to do Thanksgiving, but don't attach it to thinking. Communion, according to the Bible, he says, it is in remembrance.
Do this to remember me. Yeah.
So now they've messed up with the foundations of what should keep memory. And he even stretches it. Paul stretches it. And he says, if you are not in acknowledgement to the rest of the body, for this reason you are sick. For this reason, you are finding you are in lack in your health or in other areas. You lack in growth. You lack in yourself. Why? Because you are not in acknowledgement to the rest of the body. So when we do communion, it's in acknowledgement to him as the feature that binds the body.
Great. That's the first one. What other symbol or occultic symbol, Freemason, Illuminati, whatever, did you pick up?
Brought back the symbol for the Anglicans. And when you look at that symbol, someone actually mentioned it. I didn't even think it was the Anglican thing. I was like, they can't be that obvious. The Anglican symbol, it's just the same. It's almost like a replica of the Knight of Malta's symbol. And the Knight of Malta, for those that do not know, it's another branch of this entire thing. Now, nowadays, when you listen, I was watching a couple of videos yesterday on what are they saying about the Knights of Malta nowadays. And what I found is I only found positive stories. I couldn't even find the videos I was looking for. There were videos that goes back to like 2013 and so forth. I couldn't find those videos. It's only Roman Catholic videos and positive BBC videos about them doing charities and stuff like that. That's not the Knights of Malta we are looking for. We're looking for the core beliefs. Who are the Knights of Malta? And this is where it comes in to say, if I can change the conflict, if I can silence the conflict and give you the positive stories, we do charity. What? Charity? You didn't know we paid like hundreds and millions and stuff like that. Like, give you one example. A month ago, one of the grandmasters, I don't know why they use that term, one of the grandmasters of the Knights of Malta passed away, right?
Okay.
One of the grandmasters of one particular lodge was told by the Pope Francis, the present one. We're not talking about something that happened in 1940. What? No, this happened recently. He told him to resign because of the conflicts that were happening within the Knights of Malta because of it.
Okay. Now you bring another aspect. Is the Pope the overseer?
Where does the Pope have a comment within the... Now, particularly, you can just show the screenshot of the video. I'll send you the thing. You can go watch that video. It's posted by Rome themselves. They are the ones who are saying the Pope is the one who is heading an organization by the Knights of Malta. Now, you might even go back as far back and find a video of Nelson Mandela giving a speech when he was being knighted as a Knight of Malta. Now, someone will say, yeah, it goes back to that good charity stuff. But okay, fine, no problem. Let's go back to all this knighting stuff. Knights of Malta, the Knight Templars, they call them the Order of St. John, and stuff like that. These titles, where do they come from? It's ranking. Where does ranking come from? I'll leave that one to you. When you are rising in rank as a soldier, there are certain things that you go through. Experience counts, your capabilities, your how well versed you are within the field. You don't just become a sergeant out of nowhere. You grow into all this thing all the way to lieutenant and so forth. And so, what defines a grand master? I'll wait for a person to tell me. Jesus said, the greatest amongst you is a servant, is one who is a servant. So I'm finding it difficult to see servant. Notice here, these are people that pride themselves in charity. We are charitable, we are very humble. Awesome people. But at the same time, I'm grandmaster. Jesus says the opposite. In your humbleness, the greatest amongst you is one who is a servant. But remember, because you don't introduce conflict, you can't ask that question. That question is missing because you're looking at the charity. We leave it there. Let the person think on that one.
So with the recent developments, this lodge in Parliament, and Parliament catching fire, do you think there's a link to that? You kept referring to an article, I think that was on News 24 in 2014 or 2013, about someone who's part of the Freemasons saying, actually, even this land that Parliament is built on is our land. Is there any link to the fire that happened in Parliament and Freemasonry or prophecy, or how do these events link
together? As a matter of fact, Andile, the guy from the PLF, he actually accused them. He accused them of thinking. Now, I made a video.
Accused them? Who's them of thinking? You say accused them of thinking. Please be clear on what you're saying. Accused who of what? He
accused the Freemasons of being the one. He said they are an evil organization. They may be responsible for...
And you went on the defensive on behalf of the Freemasons on that video.
I don't agree with
thinking, who is this guy working with? But he's saying the truth.
No, we don't know that.
You don't know that?
Let the police be the ones that determine what caused the fire and what not. He has no...
No, but I thought you were disagreeing with Andile on him saying this evil organization. Are you saying they are not evil now?
Nah, I was just baiting him. I was baiting Andile. I don't like Andile particularly. I think his arguments on certain things are just a little bit too far off. So I wasn't going to give him that one. Now, the organization itself, I don't agree with them. I don't agree with their theology. I don't understand the entire 9 years. You just go watch the installation of the Grand Master. You see them, we're going to announce this person, go stand up. He needs to be escorted all the way to the door and stuff like that. And then it's knocked down to the door. Now, I watched a video of the Parliament. This is where the link, if we are asking about the link between the Masons and the Parliament, when they introduced that thing, what do they call that thing?
Yes, I see that thing. Yes, that thing they hold.
They hold.
Oh, yes.
Did you hear the description? A molly something like that, or something like that. When you listen to the video which describes how they bring it into the thing, I found that very interesting. They say they bring it in. It's carried by 2 people. I don't know, 1 person or 2 person. The other person is in front. It's actually the authority of the speaker. They say that they put it at the door. And then after it's at the door, it's put all the way at the front, a thingy. Now, what I found fascinating about that particular part was when they if you go back to the Freemasons announcements, when they are doing their speaking stuff, and the guy who carries the stick is the one that fetches the person who's going to speak and bring them back to the door. So when I heard that part, where they were describing the process of bringing in things. I was like, are you guys taking some of the traditions of the Masons into the temple? But it's not shocking. Remember, the government is the one that chose the land of the Masons. And so I did hear them saying that they no longer own the particular space of the land. And so that one, the Masons can debate that one over there to say whether they still own the whole land of it and whatnot. And I think, again, let's just remember this thing has been there for the Masons law. The Masonic Lodge has been kind of like too intertwined with government. You're not going to detach that one.
Any links of these secret society, these occultic symbols, to your modern day so-called Protestant or charismatic churches?
Yeah.
Maybe specifically charismatic churches.
Definitely. Now remember, when you go from Freemasonry, then you break down into the other organizations. You have things like the OTO. OTO focuses a lot on the entertainment industry.
What's that? OTO? What does it
It's just another faction of... These things are just so many.
Okay.
To obsess over them, you'll just spend years and years in them. OTO focuses on entertainment. Then you have the Knights of Malta and so forth. They focus on high officials and so forth. That's why you'll have the Nelson Mandelas there, knighted. You'll have the Thabo Mbekis over there, knighted. There are pictures online. It's not like it's hidden. The Desmond Tutus, they are there, knighted. So it focuses a lot on things. But then you'll have people like Rick Joyner, who affirm. As a matter of fact, there is a video that Rick Joyner was inviting his church members to join the Knight of Malta. And excuse me, what joining?
Is this a charismatic pastor, Christian leader?
Charismatic pastor. He preaches a day star and stuff like that.
Okay.
And he's inviting his church members. So the link is there, but it's never really directly Freemason. It's always this thing. This takes us back to the fakes. Is that they bring you under this other faction, this other organization. That's why there was, in America, you have the Greek alphas, right? Where the Greek letters, they call them Greek letters and so forth. It's certain small organizations which represent small little communities, but represented under universities and so forth, depending on which school you went to,
like
you are
the
represented.
Skulls.
Yeah, and all that kind of stuff. And so, and those organizations will always have their link back to the head.
Okay. So now, what should we look out for? Let's say there's a Christian pastor that is part of these societies which you deem to be a bit dodgy, evil, not really about the truth of Christ and the truth as the Bible describes it.
Yeah.
What should we look out for from people who might be part of these things but they are not saying? That might be found in the Christian community.
Two things. One, for the one who is inside, they will present ecumenical theology. They want us to just unite. Just unite. We are one. We are worshiping the same God. Like the Hillsong pastor. He came out saying, no, the Muslims worship Allah and the Christians, we worship Jehovah. It's all one God. You see? Ecumenical theology presented in Hillsong. And so that's where you kind of, excuse me, what are you talking about? It's very clear that the God over there and here, they are not the same. But again, remove conflict and you present the Masonic God. And so that's the first thing. It's ecumenical theology, which just wants us to unite. Number two, you are not in Africa. Let's say, for example, we are talking to an African audience in most cases. That's not really your biggest worry. That shouldn't be your biggest worry, because here we have a different struggle. You're dealing with occultism here. You're not just dealing with masonry. Masonry is too light for these folks down here. These ones are going occult. They are going to the Sangoma to get upiano, or they are going to get ama boys. They are going to get iskupu. They are going to batwada. And so what they come with is a fear. I remember listening to one particular Sangoma, and he was describing one particular skupu that he gives, and he says the first thing that this particular thing gives you. I made a video about that, where he said this particular God, what it does is it gives you power for people to fear you. And so that's the thing to worry about. And why do I say that? is that we'll obsess about finding masonry in church, and whereas the thing that's really there in your church, you're not looking at it. That's what I would say. Focus on, if you see ecumenical theology in your church, you might be thinking about a person who's a member within these organizations. Secondly, if you start thinking about all these things and try to connect them into each and every single part, oh, Ricky raised the finger, this person, you are looking too far thinking. Your biggest problem in Africa, it's abafundisi abathwele. That's the one that you should be concerned about.
How do you pick up on that? How do you see that lo mfundisi uthwele? I'm not suggesting that uzondo uthwele, but there's a video that you did recently on uzondo. What was he doing? He was threatening members that have just left the church.
To curse them that their marriages, they will lose their marriages, they will lose their kids. What does that mean?
So do you pay attention to such theology that seems to be going the other way?
Yeah, that's the hint. That's the one that I'm talking about. To say, instead of looking to see Zondo if he's wearing the belt of the Mason or aprons and whatnot, you're not gonna see that. Not that he is one. We're just giving an example. Just a very easy example at this point. Is that he says things that don't confide within the Christian doctrine. Like, for instance, there's a video that I'm gonna do maybe a week from now, which was done back there, where he's talking about, you heard what happened with Jub at McGee's podcast. He's talking like that about people's wives. I have the audio, we'll play it on the channel and stuff. And so it's those kind of things that you should be worried about. That. There was another video we made where he says, if he is God, found that there was something that went wrong and he's not in right with him, things will die. People will die. Kids will die. Cars will overtake. It's that kind of language which does not confide to the doctrine.
What would you say to someone, we are wrapping up now on this particular subject, what would you say to someone who says, you are obsessing, like you, the likes of Solomon, the likes of the guy that does the beat, Ellen, you guys are obsessing too much and focusing too much on individuals instead of just spreading the word of Christ.
Yeah.
Why? What would your response be to such a person?
Not all your body, not your whole body is an eye. Your whole body is not all eyes.
Okay.
And sometimes the eye sees and it can't protect itself. It needs the hand. And sometimes the body feels what the mind must process and say, okay, I need to get away here. I'm not in an area of safety. And so what do I mean by that is that not every part of the body does the same thing. The problem with people who mostly think, people who critically think about things happening within the church, they think we all do the same thing. I'm a watchman. I'm not a pastor. The day I open a church, be very suspicious of me. If you see Ricky opened a church, be extremely suspicious. Maybe I'm 12. And so it's that I am a watchman. God has put in my heart to care that you are getting something wrong. That's the thing that burns in my heart. If I'm not doing it, I feel, that's why sometimes my subscribers will say, Ricky, take a rest. And if I say that, guys, this video is going to be a little bit like, dude, take a rest. We get it. You are overworking yourself. Why? Because that's the thing that burns 24/7 in my heart to say, I need to talk about it. So the thing that I would say to the person who's there thinking, I mean, you're obsessing about this, is to say, you see, that type of thinking, it tells me that your child can get something wrong and you just allow them to continue, even though you know where it ends them. That's where I would leave it.